Hello and good morning, everyone. OnlyPositivity here. I have my coffee with me, ready to explore this new phase of life with you all. So over the past few years, I have gained a whole new perspective on life, and I've realized that life is too short to not be enjoying yourself while doing great things. So come along with me as I explore this new lens through fitness, photography, reading, traveling, cannabis, and much more. Looking forward to the journey, guys. And remember, only positivity.
We're live, my boy. What's going on?
Hey, what's going on, my guy? How's it going?
It's going, man. It's going. It's been an interesting week trying to catch up from the weekend, man.
I hear you. I hear you. We missed you at basketball,
dude.
Yeah.
You know. I learned from Justin's 30th back in Portland. I was like, we came back early too, just like we did on this Sunday. And I was like, man, I want to play ball so bad. But then, like, when you get home,
Gotta recuperate, man.
Just need a day, man.
I hear you.
And I was like, I don't want to be that guy who just like pulls it at the last minute.
I gotcha.
Especially when Justin A's out of town, he can't handle the logistics and shit.
I'm with you there, man. It was good. We had a good time on Sunday, but
yeah.
Definitely did not play as well as I would have liked. So I'm like, maybe it's just Ummer's not here. It didn't feel as comfortable, you know?
No, I feel you, dog. I appreciate you, dude. We played 2 weeks ago together?
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
We did. I think just the one time in January. Yep.
Yeah, it was fun, man. I mean, again, like I was saying, like, because Noah wasn't there, I was like feeling a lot better about like just the way.
So since you were gone this past weekend, guess who had to guard him? It was me.
You picked up Noah?
And, a little bit feeling him out. Then towards the end of the game, he just pops a couple threes in my face. Dude, 3-point, from the NBA line, basically.
Dude, Noel is like just a good basketball player, man. And he just takes all your energy, dude.
He does, but I'll tell you what, you've really impressed me over all the weeks we've played.
Thanks,
man. Like you've got a smooth jumper. It's you make it look easy,
Thanks, man.
So that's a good sign.
Yeah, dude. No, I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. No, I like that you step up. You know what I mean? Like you'll take somebody who nobody else wants to take. You know what I mean? Like I think that's just the way to do it, man. Just step up and do it. You know,
I hear you,
it's
man.
all good.
Not being the tallest guy growing up, I always had to be the person who like took on that challenge.
Yeah.
So I love it. Kind of people doubt you, and you're like, let's just show them.
Yeah, it's good. I think that's good. Grit. It's good to be gritty. Get a little scrappy on the floor. You know what I mean? It's nice. We got a good group coming out there. So I feel like everyone's playing hard, everyone's working, but no one's like getting angry.
We're all professionals.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. No one wants to go to Lifetime or Export and get beat up.
Exactly,
dude.
Let's
just have some good time and get some cardio in.
Dude, 100%. Because I've heard things about that other group. There's like another group, but I know you're not in tune with them.
Not too much, involved with that. But.
Yeah, I've heard it gets pretty lit. Like they get like real like aggressive. That older generation.
Hey, you know what? You got kids. You got to let out the steam somewhere. Right?
Yeah.
So, thankfully, not on that board yet.
Yeah, man. I feel you, dog. How's the new year been for you, man? So far,
it's been good.
Yeah?
I can't complain. Last year me and my wife, we were just so busy with so many weddings and a lot of different things going on in our life. We bought a house. So this January was a nice and her sister got married, in December of last year.
Nice.
So we were finally out of all of that. And let's just relax, kick it back, work hard. And so we're doing good. Yeah. And we're going to San Francisco later this week. So we're first trip of the new year. We're on it. So
I love it. You guys staying in San Fran?
We're staying in San Jose,
okay.
But we'll be in the Bay Area, kind of in between.
Sick.
So just doing a bunch of stuff from Thursday onwards till Sunday. So
sick. That's gonna be great, man. Yeah. I love San Fran, man. If you guys get a chance, probably on this trip, but go back and do Sonoma. Dude, you guys would love it, right? Like, do you drink wine?
Yeah. We've been to Napa.
Okay. How was that?
A couple of years ago, that was a good time.
Yeah,
really good time. We it's a couple of her cousins. They know some people out there, and so it was nice to really try that. We went to my wife's from LA, so we were in LA recently. Actually, after her sister's wedding, and we went to Temecula, which is their wine country, and that was an awesome experience too. Those guys that are working at the winery, they're so passionate about what they do, and they really know every single step of the process and going from the berries, the bacteria in the soil. I mean, it makes you, when you're drinking it, even more fulfilled.
Yeah, yeah. You appreciate a little bit more for people who take like pride in their craft. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You learn a lot from people who speak that way about what they do. Like I certainly don't speak that way about my job. You know what I mean? I mean, you do something a little bit more rewarding, but
oh no, I'm sure everyone's got something for them. You know. But.
Yeah. Me and my wife actually popped over to Monterey.
Oh, nice.
And it's like, you got to fly into San Fran as well. It's like 2 hours, I believe, north, or I don't know. But we did a vineyard tour out there, a couple. Oh, wow. And there was one spot that I actually like hit up the dude afterwards, and we podcasted together.
No kidding.
And it was just based off exactly what you said, man. It was just like I needed some of that in my life, like some of that zest and that grit for life. And I was like, yo, we gotta talk, we gotta have a chat, and we just gotta like catch up,
Exactly.
And he was just constantly like, this dude's name was Brad, and there's this winery out there named Rustique, and it was just on a gorgeous property. And like the dude was just like, man, I love life. I like love everything. I'm just like,
West Coast is a little different.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more, it's laid back, but it's also specific in certain ways. And in the Midwest, I feel it's a grittier, grindier type of lifestyle. But there's nothing wrong with it. I love it out here.
Yeah. It's really. Are you from here originally?
So I was born in India.
Okay.
But we moved from India when I was like 1 or 2 years old to Canada.
Okay.
Lived in Canada for a couple of years, and then we immigrated in the early 2000s to the Chicagoland area. So pretty much been in Naperville for the majority of my childhood and growing up. But a little different with being an immigrant and traveling a lot in the beginning. But for the most part, I consider myself American.
Nice. Yeah, I like that's a whole conversation with like how like people like you and I like identify ourselves, right? Because like we're American born, or we're American majority, right? And then but like we're also Indian, and that influences our interactions as well. You know what I mean? The people we are around. But what do you call it? What? So you moved to Chicago, Naperville area when you were like what, 7, 8?
I was like 7 or 8 years old. So like first grade basically is when we moved here.
Nice. Where'd you go to school?
For high school, I went to Nequa Valley. So that's
nice.
a lot of people we know.
And you knew that's where you met Justin.
And that's where I met Justin. Yeah. Funny story about Justin. I'm sure if he's listening to this later, but I used to be really jealous of him in the beginning when I first met him, because I guess I had some crush on some girl, and this girl liked Justin, so a little something going on there. But then we totally forget that girl, and we started hanging out. And,
bros before hoes.
Bros before hoes, man. We started playing basketball together in his driveway, and he's a great guy, and that's how I know him, through Nequa, basically.
Oh, nice. Yeah, dude. Justin's a cool dude. I went to Abanzi.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
wow.
I was on the darker side of things.
Okay.
But yeah, man, we probably it's funny that we didn't like run into each other, because like
what year did you graduate?
2010.
Okay. Yeah, it was 2011 with Justin. So.
Yeah. So it's like
similar.
Dude, we probably ran in the same circles at some
possible.
point, man.
Maybe I've seen you around.
Yeah, dude, I never really hung out with Indian people actually until college.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Mine was the exact opposite.
Okay.
I had a lot of Indian friends in high school, and then in college, I almost a 180. I had mostly white friends, I'd say. But I mean, I had Indian friends too, don't get me wrong, but
yeah.
Just the college I went to school in Dallas for undergrad.
Oh, nice.
So went a little further away from home, wanted to get away, try something new.
Nice.
And pretty much everyone there was Caucasian.
Yeah.
And had to kind of learn how to be friends with someone that wasn't Indian. It was kind of a weird state, because Naperville's where I grew up, there was a lot of Indian people. So you just felt more comfortable. But it was good to kind of step out of your boundaries.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I like that. Because like, I could tell that about you, that like you've grown up around different groups of people, or you interacted with different groups of people. You know what I mean? I don't know exactly what it is about you, but like, you know what I mean? But you could like, you know what I mean? Yeah, I got you covered, bro. But yeah, man, what did you do? Was it like pre-dental, like when you went out to Dallas?
Yeah. So, the thing with, if you do dentistry or medicine, you start off with pretty much any degree. So you can start off with like a biology degree, or you can even get an English degree. Okay. But you just have to take certain courses to satisfy certain school requirements. So they want you to take anatomy, physiology, physics, all the basic courses basically. So I was a biology major, and I wanted to become a physician, really, because that was something I just gravitated towards. But it wasn't until in undergrad where I started shadowing at these hospitals, and I realized, man, I really don't like this lifestyle.
Good for you,
I mean,
man.
it looks And shout out to everyone that's a physician or nurse or PA, anything out in those fields. That's a very difficult job, very demanding job. But I ran into dentistry because my pre-health advisor set me up with a dentist who was an alumni at my school.
Cool.
Back in Dallas, and his name is Dr. Avendaño. Kind of took me under his wing in his dental practice and started shadowing there. And I was like, oh, this is really something I'd like to pursue more. Just because, it's small business. It's still in healthcare, and, you can really make a huge impact on people's lives.
Oh, yeah. So, dude, dentistry is a big one. Like I was just chatting with my cousin Jonah on the last podcast, and he just got into like an orthodontistry program out in Tampa, man. And it's just interesting to hear like the different layers of physicians and like their motivations for doing things, right?
Sure.
Like every there's so many different types of physicians, and like my brother-in-law is a radiologist, right?
Oh, nice.
And like he really likes the techie stuff. He's like super like geeked out over like the latest and greatest technology, and it kind of makes sense, right? Radiology is like that field, right?
Yeah.
And then like my actual brother is a pulmonologist, and like a lot of family members in my family like passed away of lung cancer. And so, like, I guess, like,
really?
he, like, wanted to kind of, like, get in there and understand it.
Yeah.
So, it's, like, it's just interesting. Everyone kind of has their own reasoning and their own, like, charter for, like, why they do things, So, it's across the board, dude.
Absolutely. So, it was just, and growing up, I had a lot of self-confidence issues, but a lot of that stemmed from I had a very unattractive smile. I mean, that's just to be quite honest. I had a big gap in my front two teeth, and, I wasn't proud of the way I looked, and so I had braces for like 5 years of my life in growing up, and when that finally came off, and I think I got it off like right before prom or something like that, changed my entire perspective on everything, and it was a game changer. It really made me a different person.
Oh yeah. It's like one of those things that I mean. You definitely noticed. Like I never noticed how the impact that it had on me. Like I just like ignore like a lot of the aesthetic stuff. You know what I mean? It's like whatever.
It's not for everyone.
Yeah. But like you're right. Like your smile is like the first thing you notice about someone. Almost right. It's
a lot of times, yeah.
And like it can. I don't know. Like first impressions are a real thing, right? Like it's like we don't want to be judgmental or anything like that, but. You see someone who's been looking like they've been chewing on rocks or something. You know what I mean? It's like it's different, right? It's not nothing against their character,
hey man,
right?
Try not to judge anyone nowadays, especially. But it's always just naturally something comes to you.
Yeah, it's just a reaction that you have, right? You can't control it. Doesn't mean it's not malicious or anything.
No, definitely not.
But yeah, man, that's legit. What would you say aside from that story that you just shared about your smile? Like what is very rewarding about like what you currently do? Is it like when you give that experience to somebody else? Like because I know you're in dentistry and not orthodontistry, but run that down.
The nice thing about being I'm a general dentist, and the nice thing about being a general dentist is you can provide a myriad of services to patients and that sphere, and you're not limited to just one or two things. So it's kind of like I feel like I'm the quarterback of the team where I can direct the patient to whatever best fits their needs.
Yeah,
and if I need to direct them to a specialist like an orthodontist to fix their smile in ways that I'm unable to, I'm able to direct them in that direction. And I just like being the person to coordinate these things.
Nice.
Although I'll be honest, I don't have all the answers all the time, and it's nice that a lot of people in my profession are willing to help or give their opinion on certain things. So shout out to a lot of good specialists and mentors out in the area that have helped me become this dentist I am today.
Yeah.
Only a couple years out of school, and you come out of school, sometimes you think you know everything, and you've seen everything, and boy, have you not.
The job experience is like way different than theoretical knowledge, man.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think I wouldn't say 100% because I'm not a practicing physician.
Sure.
But it seems like the medical world has that like way far ahead of a lot of other denominations in terms of fields of study. Like practicum experience is so heavily worked in to like the medical field, right? Like you do your rotations for like years almost before you can become a practicing like physician, right?
Right.
But like like I work in higher education, and the main thing, like when I talk to an employer about like some of these business programs is like, yeah, like this student came out having like the technical knowledge from a classroom,
right?
But they don't know shit about working in a corporate environment. They don't have those like communication skills, like what to say to whom at what time, you know, things like that.
I hear you. Yeah.
Because like, you know, it's a whole different world when you get into a patient setting versus like what a book's going to tell you, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, there's certain traits that it transpires between every field. And, you know, you see the folks that are, you know, they're not humble about it. They think they're very prideful. They know this or that. And those folks, they can't pivot towards anything that would really help them in the long run. And they run into a lot of issues. So, you know, I try to take those lessons from things I've seen in other areas. And I'm like, if I don't know the right answer, I've got to be what's best for the patient. Let's research more into this. Let's do this or that.
Yeah.
And just hearing people out is a huge benefit. I mean, something that a lot of people don't listen anymore.
Right.
You know, they have the answer already made up in their head before they even talk to you.
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. That is such a great point. And I think myself, I mean, it's just a lifelong skill, right?
Absolutely.
Listening.
Yeah. Even in the marriage. I mean, hey, you know, I mean, there are times where I'm like, I think I know the answer to this, or, you know, I can direct my wife to do that, or, you know, and a lot of times she just needs to be heard.
Oh,
you know?
dude.
Like, she does not want to be told what to do or given your advice. She just wants to be heard.
You're wise, my friend. That is the gold right there. Everyone should fucking listen up to that. Yeah, I mean, that's a big one. You know, that's a good segue. Like, I think one thing that I've been learning too is like, you know, I think, you know, in your job, right? So you're like kind of like a generalist, like you're saying, like a quarterback, right? You're giving everyone direction on where to go. But like in a relationship, not every situation requires a solution, right?
Absolutely.
And it can almost invalidate someone's emotions if you give them a solution. It's like, no, maybe I just need to be heard, like you were saying, in this moment. I'll figure the solution out myself. I'm a grown up, right?
Yeah.
But like, I just need to be heard and like validated right now. I don't need anyone to tell me that because I feel upset, that's wrong. I shouldn't feel upset. I'm okay. You know, I'm justified.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Anyways, I mean, it's just one of those things where I'm not perfect either, and I make plenty of mistakes, and I'm sure it's not easy for my wife, who she moved here from California. She went to school here. She's a pharmacist, so she's lived here for several years too. But it's one of those things where she's out of her comfort zone, and I mean, hey, marriage is, you're always going to be out of your comfort zone for both people, I feel like, but you just make it work a lot of times. Yeah,
as long as the good outweighs the bad,
exactly,
like that, then it's worth it. You know what I mean? I think you boil it down to that. But where did you guys meet?
We met at Midwestern, which is nice. Downers Grove, right across the road here. So she was in the pharmacy program, I was in the dental program, and we just met through a mutual friend at a party. And fun fact, I took her to a Bulls game for the first date. And I talked to a lot of people later, and they're like, man, that's a big first date. How are you going to top that? I was like, I got to top that? I mean, I thought that was okay, and that everything else is just chill after. No. It's like, funny. No. She's really down to earth, so it worked out both ways.
Yeah. I'm excited to meet her for dinner later, man.
Absolutely.
I think it's going to be a really
Same
great time.
Same with Alyssa, man. She seems cool.
Yeah, man. She's all right. So you guys met in dental school, and then were you living at home during dental school?
Yeah. Lived at home. That was an interesting transition. You know, you live in Dallas for undergrad, and I didn't take a gap year or anything in between. I thankfully got in like right after school.
Yep.
And you know, had to kind of learn how to live with parents again. That was definitely a
bummer.
transition. But it was nice because you go to school and you know you don't really see them that often. You just kind of see them every now and then.
Yeah.
You know, and that kind of helped the focus at least, but saved a lot of money that way living at home.
Dude. Yeah. Are your parents pretty like hands off, or are they kind of like?
You know, it kind of, certain things are hands on, certain things are hands off. I don't know. I feel like they see parents, especially ones that immigrate here. You know, they weren't brought up here. They're still figuring it out themselves too. You know, and you know, growing up, I know they were really hands on with me, and sometimes I kind of did things in a negative way.
Right.
But now that I'm older and you know, hopefully more wise and more independent, they kind of have more hands off, which is nice. But you know, they're always going to see you as their kid, and they want to direct you as best they can because they think they've been through experience. You know. Yeah.
What is your empathy level for them? Like when they decide to be hands on, like are you handholdy? Are you more like dude stop or?
Yeah, it just depends on what buttons they push, right?
Sure.
Certain buttons they push, I'm okay, and other buttons I'm like, all right, guys, like let's take a step back.
Yeah.
My dad has no shame in asking, all right, so when's the kids coming in? Like, Dad, let's
It's
hold
funny
off
that your
on that
dad's
one,
asking that one. You know what I mean? Like,
it's kind of funny.
it is.
My
right?
dad has no chill when it comes to any of this stuff.
Sure.
Just straight up asking, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
No one's beating around the bush or being passive aggressive, but
Yeah. I think it's like as long as they're okay with the response, right? Then it's all good. You know what I mean?
We'll
like,
make it happen when it happens.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It'll happen when it happens. And like
Exactly.
that's the answer. You know what I mean? And if they can take that, then we're good. If they have some like, all right, let's speed it up, and it's like, well,
like let's cool it with that. But I hear them. I don't know what your parents were like, but my parents they met and then like a couple days later, a couple months later, they got married.
Oh, nice.
So it was one of those like just happened so quickly, and then they moved to like Canada pretty soon after.
Yeah,
a year
yeah,
later.
yeah.
So I can't imagine being in their shoes. How I would react. It's like, heck, I don't even know this person at all, and I got to move across the world really.
Right.
For them.
Right.
So yeah, I try to be empathetic about the whole, everything going forward, but sometimes it's tough when you're a kid growing up and you're like, you see everyone else and they're doing things a certain way, and you're like, why are we doing things this way? But
Yeah.
Life is hard.
Yeah, like there you go. Life is tough, man.
Yeah.
Did you guys live? Where'd you guys live in Canada? In Brampton?
No, we lived in Toronto first. We lived in Toronto first for a little bit, and then we moved to Ottawa, which is the capital.
I got you.
Yeah,
I got you.
But no, we didn't live in Brampton.
No Brampton.
No, no Brampton vibes here. Although, dude, Just Rain, if I could meet that guy,
Yeah,
that's like my idol, dude. I wish he was still on YouTube.
Oh,
one of the
dude.
best personalities.
He was a funny guy, man.
Oh man,
I have been to Canada like 3 or 4 times.
nice.
And 3 out of those 4 times I've been to Brampton.
Oh really?
Yeah, I got some family that lives out there.
Okay, nice.
So like we just like usually stop off in Brampton.
Gotcha.
And then
Gotcha.
go sprawl out,
Hey man,
They got good food there, dude.
I bet they do.
They got some good like buffets and shit, man.
Oh
Like,
man,
it's legit out there, dude.
yeah.
It's legit.
Like Indian food, or what do you
Yeah,
like
Indian
there?
food.
Okay, gotcha.
Like we went to like a Punjabi buffet.
Okay.
That was like normally like I would say you probably have like 5 to 7 dishes, right?
Sure.
This was like a full circle of like 35 different dishes.
Oh man.
And I was like, dude, you got me fucked up out here. I'm about to go type 2 in this.
What's your favorite kind of cuisine?
This is like, I don't like to give my mom too much credit, but like my mom's food is like my favorite food. Like I know that's like super like douchey to say or stereotypical to say,
Oh
but
no, that's fine, man.
so I don't even want to say Gujarati food because I don't really like Gujarati food
Mm-hmm.
in general. Like, so like my mom's food is number 1, I guess. But
Gotcha.
then like I would say like Kerala food is like, if my mom wasn't there, that would be the number 1. Like,
Oh,
I
good for you,
really
man.
love South Indian food, man.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. There's like, I grew up vegetarian.
Okay.
So like for me, like South Indian food is like what I would have done if I was able to eat meat. It's
Wow.
like just mix like meat into all the curries and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Because I'm like,
yeah.
dude, like some beef or some chicken or some fish would be fire in this shit, mom. Like you know, but she's like not about that.
It's all
life.
good, It is what it is with that.
Yeah, man. What about you, dude?
Cuisine wise, I love Indian food.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah.
get me wrong, and kind of similar. Mom's food is amazing.
Yeah.
My wife cooks great too. I mean, when she wants to cook, she's really good.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
But honestly, I pretty much I used to be such a picky eater growing up.
Yeah.
I don't even know why, but ever since like college, I've kind of opened up my mind to anything and
Yeah.
pretty much like most stuff. I mean, I think if I were to go like sushi is good, ramen's amazing.
Fuck yeah.
Thai is amazing. I mean, just a lot of these Asian cuisines are just like phenomenal.
Dude.
And we're gonna go. So me and my wife are gonna go to Italy
Yeah.
later this year to celebrate my 30th birthday.
Dope.
So we're pretty
man.
excited for that. But we're really excited to take like a pasta making class in Italy.
Fuck yeah.
I mean, just
Hell yeah.
go right to the source and just really learn how to do that well. And I think that'll be a game changer in that aspect.
That's dope, man. Italy's gonna be sick, dude. How long are you guys going
So
for?
we're just going for 7 to 8 days.
Oh,
yeah.
that's good. That's a
So
fair
we're
chunk
doing,
of time.
We'll do Rome, and then we'll go to like the Amalfi Coast area, just like southern Italy.
Dope.
Although it's going to be hot as balls.
Yeah, it does
so-
get hot there in the summer.
I'll be honest, I like Chicago because I just do better in the cold than I do in the warm.
Okay.
And so I'm hoping I'm not going to be dying out there in Italy when it's that hot.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I'm going to take it
Hey, man, any chance to get over there, right?
Hey, man, just got to remove article of clothing. No big deal, right?
Hey, man, they seem pretty forward thinking about that stuff, dude. Let it out, man. Let it out.
I'm glad we can banter like this, a little bit. Have some fun.
Yeah, man.
Don't take it too seriously.
Oh, dude,
right?
not at all, man. I definitely am not one to take things too seriously, bro. So,
I could tell, yeah.
But it's interesting, man. Hearing you talk about your wife, it seems like you guys got a good modern split on things that you do, man. Tell me more about that, dude. Tell me how did your day-to-day goes, how your weeks go, whether it's like gym stuff, like grocery shopping, all that stuff. Like what are you guys up to in that department?
We just try to do what's best for that situation. I mean, a lot of times when we try to cook together, a lot of times, and so I'll do a lot of the prep work, and she'll be like throwing this spice here, throwing this spice there, and like putting it all together, and then I'll be the one like physically stirring it in the pot, and it just works for us that way.
Good.
But otherwise, we also try to eat out. We try to get a decent amount of not doing everything at home, and eat out here and there, but we try to eat out healthy.
Nice.
There's like a Malayali store, I forget where
exactly
it is. Yeah, a light.
Elite?
Why you call it a light? No way. Wait,
What is it?
did
What
you
is
just
it?
call it a light?
Dude, I go just depending on who I'm talking to. When I talk to like elderly Indian people, I go Elite. But I'm like, I
Dude.
talk to somebody like our
That
age, I'm like, dude,
is-
it's a light, right?
That
It's
is
elite.
hilarious because my parents would go to a light.
Yeah.
Elite. It's technically elite. But they'd go to a light and they would always be like, yeah, we went to a light, this and that. And I'd be like, where the hell is a light?
Yeah.
And then finally when we moved out and, I'm like, oh, I want Malayali food, but, I don't want to go to my parents' place.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, yeah, we'll give you the address. I go to there and I'm like, it says elite, like ELITE. Why do they keep calling it a light? So I just thought it was my parents, to be honest.
No, dude.
But it's funny as hell that you just said that. That just made my day.
Yeah.
Totally just made my day.
Alyssa's mom, so for all their family parties when she
Sure.
doesn't want to cook, she like hits up Elite, right? So I'm just like,
nice.
I heard it from her first, and I'm like, and I've gone to
That's
pick up from there too,
hilarious.
right? And I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't know if this is. Maybe we should just ask somebody in there.
Right. Funny story about a light. There's like a little gambling spot, like couple shops down
Okay.
from that little strip. And so the first time I went to a light, I went into the wrong place. I walk in and it's a bunch of uncles like on the slot machines trying to win some stuff. And I'm like,
Let's go.
where the hell am I? I was like, yo, is this the light in the back? Like, are we getting food back there?
Yeah, what's
And
going
I
on
realized,
here?
oh, I was totally in the wrong spot. And it was just like, it seemed like a super degenerate area. But,
Yeah, dude. A bunch of uncles with like 4 buttons down, gold chain. Like
hey, man, they make it work, clearly. They got nothing else better to do.
dude,
But,
big time.
But yeah, going back to it, we try to. It's nice there. You get a bunch of food, and it's relatively healthy.
Yep.
We're all about like we'll have our burgers, we'll have our fries, but we try to have a good balance. To be honest.
Yeah. That's good, man. That's good.
But in general though, we laundry and other stuff. We try to just make it. We try to split a lot of things. But
Yeah.
I tell a lot of people this. It's like relationships. As much as people try to make it 50-50, it's almost never 50-50.
Oh, yeah,
Unfortunately,
yeah.
one person is probably doing a little bit more than the other, and it just depends on how tolerable everyone is. But
It's a living, breathing thing, dude. You know what I mean?
you got it. Yeah, man. So a lot of young kids, if you're ever listening to this, don't expect it to be 50-50. It's not realistic.
Yeah, that's a tough one because like I feel like even like especially in today's age with social media,
Sure.
like everything is quick. Like you want to like get into a relationship quick. You want to like get a good job really quick. You want to like climb up really quick. And it's like
It's cliche, but you've really got to give it time. A lot of times.
Yeah, like there's still worth, and this sounds super old, in like hard work. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like you got to grind, bro. Like that's what makes things worth it.
For sure.
Like because when things like are given too easily, like you're it's like diminishing returns, right?
Yeah.
Like it's just not as good. It's just not as good. So like it's cool that you put it that way. You know what I mean? Because like you said, there's times where you're probably gonna be lifting majority, and there's times where she might be, and there's times you might be splitting it evenly.
Yeah.
So like
Yep.
these type of things are really really good to hear, man. Because
Nice.
like those gender norms are just like they're done, man. I don't like those
Yeah,
anymore.
I don't know if we can break things down to that, and you just have to make it work for whatever yours is. But thankfully, my wife is Hindu and I'm Christian,
Yep.
and so that
Yep.
was a little bit of a difficulty, kind of trying to figure out how we're gonna make this work because we both really love each other.
Yeah.
But that was really our biggest roadblock with it. And, especially with, the way I view religion is, it's personal to yourself.
Yeah.
And it is, however you do it yourself, that's kind of what it is. But if the other person wants to join or not, that's on them. And that's kind of what, it's a personal relationship with a higher power, right?
Yeah.
For a lot of folks, it's like, it's also family related, and, there's a lot of customs and cultural aspects to it. And so, like, getting married and stuff, there was a lot of things I could not do to participate in certain rituals and such with my wife. And, she kind of did those things alone with her family, and I did some things alone with my family. And we kind of brought it together at the end at the wedding day. And, we probably did more Christian aspects than we did, other aspects. And, but, thankfully her parents were okay with it, and we got their blessings, and my parents, as well. Took a while. We had to do a lot of uncomfortable conversations. But I think both parents realized, we love each other so much, and it's one of those things where they know that we'll be in good hands with each other.
And they want you to be happy, right? Like
I think so.
That's at baseline what you would hope. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Good. It's interesting, man. Like, and you let me know, because on my end, and not to talk about myself, right? It was a little bit easier because we both weren't super religious, we grew up, but there's you touched on the cultural aspect, right? There's a lot of cultural things that go on with all types of
intertwined.
Exactly. They're one and the same almost. I think it would have been difficult if, like, let's say, both of us were religious, and let's say, for example, in Catholicism and Christianity, right? There's folks who don't believe what in Jesus Christ and salvation are considered like sinners, and there's a little bit of a negative light cast on them, right?
Sure.
I think if we were both religious, we might have to have that conversation a little bit deeper. Be like, do you believe that? Because if not, I'm not, I am asking you, but I would ask for that. Like, do you truly believe that? Because if you do, then I think that's concerning a little bit, personally, right?
Sure.
Because we should be equal, we should be on the same platform. You shouldn't feel like, you're above me or I'm below you,
I don't see any of this as being above or below.
Okay.
I think it's more of just, if you're gonna subscribe to a religion, and one of the aspects is, especially in Christianity, that, you believe Jesus is the only God, and the only way to salvation or the afterlife for us is believing in him, and, him dying on the cross for our sins. And it's not necessarily that I think of anyone who doesn't believe in that is lesser than me. It's one of those things where, in my opinion, if someone wants to find the truth, or if they want to hear this out, it's really, they have to decide for themselves, does that matter to them or not?
Right.
Because, at the end of the day, can you verify any of this? Maybe not. You have to, it's a lot of it is faith.
Faith, and that's faith.
And so I don't like to think of anyone, I don't think of my wife as any less.
Of course not.
And if she ever wanted to, hear more about it, I would definitely, talk to her more about it. But at the end of the day, like I said, for me, it's more of a personal relationship with God in that way. And my personal relationship with God is, if I want to go to heaven, and if I want, if I believe in this, then I got to believe that he's the only way.
Yeah.
And so it's a tough conversation, because that does inherently lead to some folks feeling like they're lesser, that I think lesser of them, and I really don't.
And if you don't, then there you go, right? That's it.
Yeah.
I think that's such a good attestation to the strength of you and your wife's relationship, right? Because she doesn't have to believe it, and you don't have to believe what she believes, but you guys have to respect each other, right? You have to she has to respect that you believe what you believe, and that she vice versa, and I like that comes back to what I was talking about with Alyssa, where it's in general, even though we're not very religious in general, we have our own path to spirituality,
sure,
and it's very subjective, it's very gray, but we're all searching, right? I think that's what we have to respect, right?
Yeah.
We're all just kind of searching for a little bit of peace here and
absolutely.
things like that.
And you know what? I've got friends, and I've got we've got family that's they're not necessarily Christian. We got Hindu friends, we've got Muslim friends, we've got non-denominational, we've got atheists, yada yada. And at the end of the day, like I said, it's anyone that thinks it's this is what makes religion have a bad light. It's just when you start to force people into a certain box and you start saying this way is completely bad and this way is completely bad. And even if you might think that, I'm never going to tell someone that what they're doing is wrong. And it's just more of like, if they want to seek something and I've got the solution or the answers on my end, then I'll share it.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to believe it, hey, that's up to you. Like
right.
That's your relationship with, a higher being. And
totally.
At the end of the day, can you verify any of this? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
But you can have faith, and it gives me peace knowing how I want to approach life. So
Dude.
that's kind of the situation with it. But I'll be honest. I talked to before getting married, I talked to my wife about this, and I told her, you don't have to be, you don't have to convert for me or anything like that. But I did request that if we do have kids in the future, we talked about these things, like I would want them to grow up Christian, and she was surprisingly okay with that.
Nice,
she just
dude.
wanted to. She just wanted them to, to be able to experience certain cultural, aspects from her side.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was okay with that too. And it is one of those things where you have to have these tough conversations if you're not the same. If you're not from the same culture. Heck, even if we're both Molu, we could be completely different types of Molu and a whole different set of scenarios. But it's hard to have these tough conversations without feeling vulnerable.
Oh, dude, yeah. I'm super stoked to hear that, man. That's really cool. Like I'm even more excited to meet her after this, man, because like it's cool that you guys can have those conversations without just sweeping it under the rug and be like, oh, we'll figure it out, and just because that stuff is not good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the quicker you talk about tough things, the faster you can get to the fun stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
you got it.
It's just like get that out of the way, man. Just talk about it. Just power through the pain, man. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But that's really cool, man. And like so as you guys, excuse me, as you guys were pivoting through your wedding conversations and things of that sort, was there? I know you mentioned a little bit of it. Was it heavily between you two, like all the major decisions? Or did you hear a lot of other input that affected like your guys' trajectory?
That's a good question. I mean, the nice part is me and her, we were in a good spot in our careers to be able to pay for the wedding. So
Love
that
it. Well done,
was
bro. Congratulations, man. That's a big one, dude.
I mean, and we didn't want our folks to have to put their retirement money or anything into this, but
yeah.
We took into account what matters to them.
Yeah.
Both sides, and we try to rationalize it and see like, hey, you know what, we can make this work, but this is, this person is a total no, and it was probably the toughest part in our relationship ever.
Yeah.
Just coming up with a wedding, and I'll tell you what, we had so many good friends and family members who like they just made it work for us.
Yeah.
Like they dropped everything they could, they helped us out. And both of our parents were very accepting at some point, once we got to a certain point. So it just, the nice thing was, like I said, we got to pay for our own wedding, so we got to do things our way.
Right.
But we definitely took into account what we thought was important.
Got you. Where did you guys get married?
We got married in LA.
Oh, dope.
Yeah. So we went out there, and in Orange County area, there's a nice golf course there, and we were looking online, and we were able to book this. We were able to book a day on Memorial Day weekend in last year to do that, and worked out perfectly. But it's just crazy because like when my sister or my wife's sister got married last year, and she looked at all these things too, and like the prices for everything just skyrocketed, and we were like, holy cow, super glad we booked because it was already not cheap as it was, and I can't imagine doing this. But it was like Justin came, and it was a great time. Like we just had a big party. I mean, that's really what it was towards the end of it.
Awesome. That's how it should be. Like, did you guys have a non-denominational ceremony? Did someone officiate? Or
we kind of had we had like my pastor fly in from Chicago, but he kept it very simple, at least the message, and try to make it as applicable as he could to like any other wedding, as if it wasn't Christian, really.
Yeah.
But he did include certain Bible verses and stuff, which we had to kind of agree upon ahead of time, and there was some contention with that too, because he kind of spoke a couple more verses than we would have liked.
So freestyling.
He started freestyling at some point. We were like both looking at each other like, oh, we didn't agree upon this. And then for the Hindu part of things, we instead of going around a fire, we had her jijaji, brother-in-law, basically. He he was able to kind of repeat some of these firas in English.
Nice.
But he just made it very, so that it didn't sound religious whatsoever. It was more like you vow to protect each other and have kids and the whole 9 yards.
Nice.
So we try to do it that way, and we try to put some symbolism with like the garlands and other things. But like I said, at the end of the day, we just needed a simple ceremony because we love each other and we knew what was going to work. We just needed something to appease everyone as best we could, and at the end of the day, I got no regrets.
Good, man. Look at you pivoting through Malayali and fucking Guju ceremonies, bro. Fucking
don't recommend it for everyone, but if you want to have some pain in your life, go through one of these things.
That's awesome, dude. Yeah, man. Hey, like you said, bro, you just gotta you gotta boil it down to a couple of things, man. Like, in your case, like you said, you gotta appease a few people, but all in all, everyone should be on board with whatever.
Big sigh of relief once everything was done. I'll tell you that, and the reception was bomb. So, good time, good music, good food, and good dancing.
Yeah. So, I like to hear that, man. Yeah. That's cool, man. I wish we were closer back then, dude. It would have been cool to come out.
It's all good, man. Didn't even know you existed.
I know, dude.
Can't believe you went to Wabanzi. What the heck? I know. I actually lived closer to Wabanzi than I did Nikwa. Yeah. So my sister, who was a couple years younger than me, she went to Wabanzi because the borders changed.
They fucked him up real quick.
They fucked him up.
People were pissed about that.
Yeah, there was big protesting, dude. Like people in White Eagle were like, "Oh, I can't be going to that place." And it's like, dude, guys, it's not a big deal. Like, you'll be fine.
Yeah, there was a definite demographic shift at Wabanzi, but I mean, we're here today, right?
I think we made it work somehow, right? So shit.
Yeah,
not saying that Nico was any great or perfect, but everyone struggles in their own way, right?
Yeah, man. I think like if you're in the school district, right? You're in this. It's gonna be like kind of apples to apples, except minus a few things here and there, dude.
For sure, dude.
That's cool, man. I really liked hearing. I like hearing about like weddings that are non-traditional.
Yeah,
because it's like people got the ideas, man. People got the ideas to make things their own, and I love like not knowing what to expect. Like I want to go in and I want to be wowed. I want to hear how much this couple loves each other. I want to see like some good shit in the air. You know what I mean? And then send me on my way, dude.
Send me on my way. Yeah, let's get to the cocktail hour. Let's go.
Yeah. Like I'll always go to a ceremony just to see how it is. And to your point, man, like some Bible verses are actually very applicable to real life, man.
Oh, absolutely. I thought he picked some good ones. It's just like I said, we didn't necessarily agree on a couple of them ahead of time, but
yeah. But like you know Alex Uman?
Yeah.
I don't know why I always talk about that fucking guy. Fuck Alex Uman. But
shout out to my boy Alex.
Yeah, shout out Alex. What do you call? At his wedding, were you at his wedding?
No. No.
Whichever pastor he had flown in at the Elmhurst Church, was super modern. He gave a lot of applicable advice to that would help him in his day-to-day marriage with his wife.
Gotcha.
Which I think is like what everyone needs. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
In general, all religions, they tend to like apply like a solution to your problem is like something far off, and it's like that works, that I guess that does work, but like I need something right now that's gonna help me with like an obstacle that I'm facing in whether it's with my spouse, with my work, like some emotional intelligence type advice, right? Like,
sure,
stay calm, things like that,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And like I find that a lot in like the Eastern religions, like Buddhism, Hinduism, what do you call like all those other like Taoism or whatever, right?
Gotcha.
Like it's a lot of like day to day, like how we like the circle and like different dogmas they have, right?
Gotcha.
But when we get over to like Western religions, I find it a little bit more difficult to find it being timeless, if that makes sense. I don't know if you find that, but like that's just kind of like high level thoughts.
Yeah, I don't think I've reflected that hard on it, and I consider myself religious, but I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm like the most religious person whatsoever.
Sure,
I've done a lot of things in my life, and it is what it is. But it just at the end of the day, it's like I found the way solution through my faith to a lot of the problems I have in my life.
Good.
It worked my way, and I think it works, and I think it's the right way of doing things. But you know what? Someone else might have a different way, and good for them. I'm happy to have a conversation.
Oh yeah, yeah. If you think it's the right way, like I'm not saying it's wrong, right? I've been like over the past few years, I've just been reading a lot on like every religion,
Gotcha.
and just like trying to understand them, mainly for the similarities,
Yeah.
And obviously there's how do you put it? There's ceremonial, ritualistic differences.
Sure.
But like almost all religions are kind of saying the same shit.
They've got some similar aspects. I mean, I get it. You know, the earlier humans really needed some sort of structure to not be doing messed up stuff to each other and build a good civilization. You know, but you know, whether you believe some was divinely inspired or not is a different story. But you know, it helped societies get to where we are right now.
Yeah,
that's really what it is.
Yeah. I really like one thing I really like about Western religions, Catholicism, Christianity, all those is the storytelling. Storytelling is very good in those areas, you know, and like, if you remove yourself from the story and take away the lesson, then you've won. You know, you've gotten. Yeah. You know,
you have to get the big picture with it.
Right.
You know?
Right. Like, you know, like we said, we go into the nuances, but like Jonah and the whale. You know,
sure.
Like, do we believe that he was in there? Like maybe not, right? Yes and no, right? Like he could have been.
Right.
But like there's things to take from it, right?
Sure.
There's things to take from it. There's like faith, like, you know, Jonah held his faith throughout all of it. He's steadfast, you know, he remained calm, things like that, right?
Right.
And you could say that, hey, in the face of adversity, that's probably how you should behave as well, right?
Sure.
Like maintain your faith, right? Maintain your character, things like that. So like, I think a lot of the issues might arise when people get caught up in the nuances of stories. You know what I mean? It's like, well,
specific facts about things, and it may not necessarily have happened that way.
Yeah, you know? And those types of things I think are how I put it, like cross-denominational, right? Like there's always stories, you know? But I feel like the stories in the Bible are so epic, you know, that it's just like, you know, when I'm in a church, when I find myself in one a lot these days, right?
Gotcha.
And I always find that the storytelling is very, very enthralling. You know, it's a very captivating, and the overarching scene that you're in with stained glass and like the acoustics and like the singing. Yeah. I can 100% see.
You feel that, don't you?
Yeah, you feel it. Yeah. It takes over you. You know, you can't really understand it, can't put your finger on it, but it's. I can see why this is a place where people be.
Right,
you know? Like,
right.
Know, but
hey, we're all trying to find our place in this world. I mean, that's really, I think it comes down to that, and you know, it's a fun journey. Honestly.
Yeah.
Not saying everyone's journey is fun, but you know, I can't say that I changed anything about my life, and
good.
I'm happy.
I'm happy to hear that.
I'm happy where I'm at.
I love it. I love it. That's why I'm glad we sat down today, man. Like I need this type of shit. You know, I need to hear other people like out there just like living good lives, man. Like having fun, I mean,
trying their best. It's not perfect by any means. Don't get me wrong.
It doesn't.
It's you know, you look back and you're like, especially when a lot of patients. Unfortunately, I don't mean to turn this into a darker subject, but I've had a couple patients in the past like month or two like pass away from cancer.
Man,
and I mean, you know these people, but you don't really know them. But it's like it's tough because you sit there and you're like, yeah, you know, there's a lot more to life than just working, you know, this many hours a day and getting this much money and paying off loans. And, you know, I feel like we grow up and we have like certain things we think about of, you know, structure wise of how we're going to approach it.
Oh yeah.
And then you get something like this where, you know, someone just got diagnosed with pancreatic cancer and then they pass away 6 months later. Yeah. You kind of sit there and you're like, yeah, I don't know if all this is really, you know, that's super important. Like there's got to be more of a focus to something else.
There's got to be meaning somewhere, right? Like, and if it's not there, you know, in that setting that you heard that story, then you got to find it, you know, like whether it's with, you know, your wife, wherever it is, right? And
absolutely,
it's pursuit, right? You got to pursue like that, you know. And interestingly enough, man, on that same tangent, you know, I actually just this morning, I got breakfast with an old like boss of mine who like she's like a mentor to me, you know, and you know, it's funny. Because I've grown, right, over the past 7-8 years, and she has also grown, right?
Nice.
And so, like, you know, when I first met her, she was probably like late 30s. You know what I mean? Now she's like mid 40s. Okay. You know? So when I first met her, she was gung ho for the corporate life, right? Like she was just like in it, right?
Yeah.
Like ego fully blown. But there was a lot to learn from her because she was so articulate and she was really kind. You know, she was just very kind to me. So I kept in touch with her. And she actually hired Alyssa to work. Me and Alyssa were on the same team at work for like 2.5 years.
What?
Yeah.
So you were working with your wife?
Yeah.
Like every day?
We shared a cube wall at work.
That is wild.
Yeah.
I don't know how the hell you guys made that
Yeah. We had like, those tough
Wow.
conversations.
Yeah.
A lot of those, dude. A lot of those.
Don't bring work home, baby.
Exactly.
Just leave it there.
Just leave it there, dude.
Holy cow.
But so I met up with her to my previous boss today, and she was always gung ho, right, about work.
Yeah.
And so, but I'm with her now, and she's like, so she was saying this to me. She was like, so I'm getting to the point where, there's going to be a point where my value as an employee goes down. Like after this age, I'm going to be considered like a little bit older, and like, there's going to be a new generation coming in. Right. And it was so astonishing for me to hear. She was like, I'm just doing this. I just need to do this for a paycheck. And I was like, fuck me, dude. It's so interesting to hear you say that, because like, she's like, yeah, I mean, like been giving up time with my family, with my husband, and like, for what? And I'm like,
yeah.
In my mind, I'm just sitting there like, let's go, man. I'm like, hell yeah, dude. I was like,
get the light bulb,
Yeah.
turn on.
and I'm like, I wish, I was thinking that from an earlier time in my career. I was like, dude, means to an end here, right? But like, you're young and you don't think that's how you should be behaving, or the vision you should have, right? And it's just funny to hear her say that, like towards the tail end of her career. And it's like, going back to what we were saying, it's like, dude, this shit is somber, man. Like if you work a job, like some type of like somber shit is gonna happen to you that might make you lose faith in humanity a little bit. But you can't let that happen. You got to go get it somewhere else. You know what I mean? Like you got to go achieve that fulfillment from something else.
Sure.
Like whether it's traveling, whether it's, with your wife, whether it's, those
your faith
combined,
or anything like that.
faith,
Yeah. Whatever it is.
There needs to be something that you are like super excited about. And
Yeah.
like you're giddy about. And as you get older, that becomes tougher and tougher, because life just kind of gets on you, man.
Yeah. And you know what? It's easy to talk about this because, I had a decent upbringing, and, I get it. Everyone's got their problems and different things. And I feel comfortable where I'm at, and I can talk about these things. I'm not scraping by or surviving.
Yeah. Yep.
But it's, I guess that's just the human condition, dude. It's like, you kind of break things down to its nuts and bolts, and you realize like, yeah, there's definitely more to life than just being a capitalistic society, just getting money, spending, showing off. It's like, hey, let's spend more time outdoors. Let's eat right. Let's build relationships. Let's talk to people. Like that brings fulfillment in ways that you would never get if you were just corporate this, that, and you just followed by the book. It's like, let's get off the trail. Let's try something new. And I'm all about doing that as long as it's safe too. Like,
yeah.
My wife's always like, she went skydiving a couple of years ago.
Let's go.
And like, I mean, dude, let's go. But I was like, she called me right before she jumped off the plane or got on the plane, and she's like, hey, I'm gonna go jump off this plane. I'll talk to you after. And I'm like,
I love you.
Yeah, well, it was like,
Bye.
it was early in a relationship. Like, I was like, what if you I've never hear from you again?
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, I'm not trying to go do crazy stuff like that. I'm good. But there's a lot to life that we just got to open our eyes and be accepting,
Yeah. Like I was talking to somebody about like, they were like, why do you get into photography, right? And I was like, there's no rules, man. Like you can do whatever you want. Like I'm not attaching my income to that. Like I'm just doing it because I like it, and like it'd be cool to make some money off of it. I get a couple gigs here and there, but it's just like something that no one can tell me what to do with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you make it yours.
And you realize in your day to day how much you're getting told. And like, I feel like that can weigh down on your soul a little bit. I mean, it's not always bad things you're getting told, right? But like you might at work, right? There might be certain ways you want to do something or your vision, but you can't fully make it happen because of red tape or whatever the fuck it is, right?
Yeah.
And like, you're like, well, I need something to do that has like no rules, man. I just Ummer is like the CEO of this,
Right.
And there's no other employees. It's just me.
Hey, amen to that, dude.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. But one question. I know we're getting to the end here.
Oh yeah.
So
whatever.
So. And this is like, it's kind of, are you happy? You seem happy.
I definitely think I'm happy.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. Especially when you look back on, everything that's gone through. I mean, I'm 29, I'll be 30 this year. And I can't say that, like I said, I've messed up a lot in life. I've done this or that. But, looking back on it all, it's like all that stuff made you who you are today.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't regret any of it. And I'm in a good spot. I mean, there's always someone that's got it worse than you.
Yeah.
And I've always got this mindset like, hey, you know what? Life doesn't have to be so complicated that you make it hell. Like some people, they're their own worst enemies. Mm-hmm. And for me, I've always been like, just stay grounded, just keep it easy, and just enjoy the little things.
Good
like
for
just
you,
coming
man.
home. Like I come home for lunch sometimes, and my wife, if she's not working that day, she, you know, it's like, hey, sweet, I get to see you at lunchtime. Like instead of me just being locked up in an office trying to do this or that on a patient, like
Yeah.
you know, just celebrate the little things in life, and I think I'm happy.
Yeah.
Honestly, God,
I like it.
So we'll
I love
see.
to hear that, man. So, you know, I think what are the pillars of your happiness? Like what, I know your wife seems like the main one, you know?
She's a big one. Yeah, I mean, ever since getting married, going through the whole, like, we did like a whole premarital counseling and stuff just to kind of like, you know, work some things out. And
Yeah.
it's like, it's weird, but it's like once you're in it, you got to go full force with it. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
you know, I'd say like my faith is a big pillar in my happiness. You know, I feel good knowing that, like, you know, no offense to atheism or anything, but like,
None at all,
I feel
man.
good knowing that like maybe there's a solution after death. Like,
Good.
I would hate to go through life and thinking like death is it. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
that
yeah.
would suck.
Yeah.
So like my faith's a big part of it. My parents are good. You know, they've been very supportive, and
Yep.
you know, my sister's great. Also, I got a younger sister. She's super good relationship with siblings. You know,
Love it.
a lot of patients we have, like they don't have good families. They don't talk to their family, and like I can't imagine that. Like,
Yeah.
that would hurt. You
Oh
know?
yeah, man.
Family, you know, we're in a good position financially to be able to travel and, you know, experience life in other ways that I didn't necessarily do when I was younger. And,
Great.
you know, we make it work, and meeting cool people like you, man, in basketball. Like, it's the little things, man. I love sports. I love
Yeah.
the Bears. I love the Bulls.
Yeah.
It just sucks that Chicago just can't keep a good team on the field for more than like a year. And then they go
Fucking-
through that. And,
yeah.
you know, I like that. And it just totally off tangent. I like space. I like other sciencey things, and
Yeah.
it's cool, man. Not knowing the known, knowing the unknown is like it's interesting to like, let's see how far we can get into this. You know?
Yeah. Good, man.
Yeah.
No, I'm
things
super
like that.
happy to hear that, man. Like I I'm learning a lot from sitting down with you today, man. You know, I
hope so.
It's
And likewise, seriously.
I appreciate that, man. You know, I like to ask that question to people because, like, some people hesitate, you know, and like I didn't even need to ask you the question to, like, you know that you were happy, but like I think you got to boil it down sometimes to that, right?
Yeah.
Like I'll be like, dude, are you happy in your life? And if you hesitate, let's explore it. Let's explore why
For
you
sure.
hesitated on me just now, you know? Like,
For sure.
But if not, fucking more power to you, dude. Continue on, you know,
Absolutely.
carry on.
And I'll
because-
just, I mean, even just to go off tangent just a tiny bit
Oh,
more.
please, dude.
You know, one of the things I've learned, you know, growing up, and one of my biggest flaws growing up is like, I've always been pretty good at something, but I've never been like the best or
Sure.
excellent at something. And I feel like part of that is because I am happy.
Yeah.
It's kind of a profound thing to
Nice.
say, but if you feel too comfortable or you're happy, sometimes you don't push yourself to that point where like your back is really against the wall and you got to go forward with this, you know?
Yep.
Some people, like, they're just their mindset. Like, I'm sure, like, you know, going to sports, like Michael Jordan, he was a good player, but he like made it his own mind like a hell zone where like he's like, I got to be the best at this, and he pushed himself to a point where like excellence was like the definition for him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's hard to just create that in your mind, you know. But sometimes I wish like that I was like built like that to be like, I want to keep going forward and be the best at this. It's like I'm pretty good at it and I'm happy, and that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I mean? For everyone, it's a little different.
Dude, that is fucking awesome, man. I love that. I love that, dude, because I felt the same way. You know, you know, we talk about balance, right?
Yeah.
And look at how it relates back to your career, right? Like you're the quarterback, you're the general, right?
Right.
And you're directing traffic, but you're not the orthodontist. You're not, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're not all the way down the rabbit hole.
Sure.
Because you like playing the field, and like you're happy
Exactly.
enough to be like a jack of all trades, as opposed to just specializing.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe there's more money in just a specialty. But
Right.
like, you know, I don't know how you put it. With the work, it's different. But with like learning, if you pigeonhole, then you miss out on other learning. Do you know what I'm
That's
saying?
the thing. And I'm sure they would look back and say certain things like that too. You know, like, oh, you know, I wish I was better at this, even though I'm like really good at this one thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I can say like, yeah, I feel like I have a pretty competent hand on a lot of other things too.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, tying it back full circle, right? Like you or I are not good enough to play professional basketball.
No.
But like let's say like that happened, right? Let's say that happened.
Sure.
And now you're all the way down the rabbit hole on basketball. You're in this competitive environment where it might not even be fun anymore. right? And like that would ruin it for me, you know? Like I played soccer competitively growing up.
Oh,
and
okay.
the competition of playing like at the collegiate level fucking ruined it for me. I was like,
Really?
this is not fun. I'm not playful with this, you know?
Yeah.
And like I feel like that's like the best way to do it. You're well versed enough to dance around it, but you don't need to be like the person that does that. But that's just an opinion. You know, that's just my opinion.
Yeah. Someone else can disagree, and they may say, hey, listen, I want to be the best at this because I need this to my name. And
Yeah.
But they may not be happy. I mean,
Yeah.
that comes down to that, right? It's the trade-offs in life.
Exactly. But I think it's good. Like it seems like you do this, like you know, when you have interactions, right? Like I would assume that, you know, you come back from this hangout with me and our double date and you debrief with me, right? With your wife. And
Yeah.
you guys talk about the good and the opportunities, right? And that's just part of it. You know, that's just part of it. And then that's how you learn moving forward. That's how you learn the people you like, you know? Like sometimes, like, you know, people like us who like we're different a little bit, right? Like you're Malu, your wife's Kuju, and the flip flop for me. It's like there's no laid out SOP or instructions for that, right?
Absolutely.
And I love to meet people who have gotten themselves into those situations where dude, I didn't have a written document of how to do this, but I figured it out, and look at me, I'm happy. You know,
Absolutely, man. My guy.
Much love, bro.
Much love as well. Thank you so much for having me on this podcast.
This was fun, man. We should definitely rock this again in a year or something
future,
like that.
Yeah, get a little update.
Yeah, I definitely learned a lot, man. I appreciate you coming on, but let's go get some dinner, yeah?
Thank you. Let's do it.
Yeah, much
Have a good
love,
one.
bro.
Love.
Peace.